Many faithful, prayerful, hard-working believers are doing everything right, yet their bank accounts stay empty, opportunities stay blocked, and financial peace feels out of reach. This struggle is not always a lack of effort or faith. Often it is a hidden spiritual, mental, or directional issue that must be corrected before provision can flow. Today's message exposes why diligence alone is not enough and what must change for true financial breakthrough to arrive. Hard work is often praised as the highest virtue, especially among believers who are taught to be diligent, responsible, and faithful in all they do. Many rise early, labor late, and pour their energy into responsibilities with honesty and discipline. Yet despite this effort, financial progress remains slow or non-existent. This creates confusion, frustration, and even silent doubt. The issue is rarely laziness. More often, the issue is misalignment. Alignment means being positioned in the right work, the right timing, and the right purpose. When effort is poured into something that is not aligned with one's calling or season, energy is consumed without producing lasting fruit. People can be extremely busy and still be unproductive. Activity is not the same as advancement. Misalignment often reveals itself through exhaustion without reward. When work drains joy, peace, and hope while providing minimal return, it may be a sign that effort is being applied in the wrong direction. This does not mean the work is evil or useless, but it may no longer be the path through which provision is meant to flow. Some are faithful in places they were only meant to pass through, not remain. Another sign of misalignment is constant resistance. Doors refuse to open no matter how hard one pushes. Progress requires twice the energy for half the result. This is not always opposition from outside. Sometimes it is internal tension, a sense that something is off but difficult to define. Alignment brings clarity, while misalignment breeds confusion. True alignment does not eliminate effort, but it multiplies its impact. When work aligns with purpose, even small actions produce measurable results. Ideas flow more easily. Connections appear unexpectedly. Momentum replaces stagnation. This is why two people can work equally hard while experiencing completely different outcomes. One is striving, the other is flowing. Many remain misaligned because of fear. Fear of change, fear of instability, fear of disappointing others, or fear of starting again. Comfort zones often disguise themselves as responsibility. But remaining faithful to something that is no longer fruitful can become a form of disobedience to growth. Alignment requires courage to evaluate direction honestly. Alignment also involves timing. Some struggles occur not because the path is wrong, but because the season has not yet shifted. Learning to discern timing prevents unnecessary burnout. Pushing prematurely can be as harmful as staying too long. Wisdom lies in knowing when to labor intensely and when to reposition. When alignment is restored, effort feels lighter even when the workload increases. Strength is renewed, vision becomes clearer, and financial doors begin to respond. The struggle eases not because effort stopped, but because effort is finally aimed correctly. Faith is powerful, but faith alone is not a substitute for wisdom. Many sincerely believe for financial breakthrough, pray consistently, and trust wholeheartedly, yet avoid planning, structure, and disciplined systems. Faith was never designed to replace strategy, it was meant to empower it. Belief creates expectation, but strategy creates pathways. Without a plan, faith remains abstract. Hoping for increase without direction is like expecting a harvest without planting in rows. Growth requires order. Strategy turns belief into action and vision into reality. A common misunderstanding is that planning shows a lack of trust. In reality, preparation is an expression of trust. It says, I believe increase is coming, so I am organizing myself to handle it. without strategy. Even answered prayers can become burdens rather than blessings. Financial struggle often continues because systems are missing. Income comes in but leaves quickly. Opportunities appear but are not sustained. Progress is temporary because there is no structure to support it. Strategy provides stability. It protects gains and multiplies resources over time. Budgeting, learning new skills, managing time, and seeking counsel are not signs of weak faith. They are tools that faith uses. Ignoring these tools leads to repeated cycles of lack. Regardless of how sincere belief may be, strategy also involves intentional learning. Financial increase often requires new knowledge. Remaining in the same habits while expecting different results leads to disappointment. Growth demands adaptation. Faith opens the door, but strategy determines how far one can walk through it. Another critical aspect of strategy is decision-making. Many delay decisions, waiting for perfect clarity. But clarity often comes after movement, not before it. Strategy involves thoughtful action, not paralysis. Waiting endlessly can become a disguised form of fear. Faith without strategy also leads to emotional spending, impulsive choices, and short-term thinking. Strategy disciplines emotions and aligns actions with long-term goals. This discipline does not restrict freedom, it creates it. Those who pair faith with strategy begin to see consistency. Small improvements accumulate. Stability replaces chaos. Financial peace grows, not because income suddenly explodes, but because management improves. Over time, increase becomes sustainable rather than fragile. True financial growth is rarely dramatic at first. It often starts quietly through planning, discipline, and wise adjustments. Faith fuels endurance, while strategy ensures direction. Together, they create lasting transformation. There are moments in life when no amount of effort seems to produce the desired outcome. People work harder, pray longer, and push themselves further, yet the results remain limited. This is often where frustration deepens, because it feels unfair. However, effort and obedience are not the same. Effort is about strength, but obedience is about alignment. And alignment unlocks doors that strength alone cannot open. Obedience often requires listening more than striving. It demands sensitivity to direction rather than intensity of labor. Many remain financially stuck not because they are unwilling to work, but because they are unwilling to adjust. Obedience may call for leaving a familiar path, releasing a habit, changing priorities, or saying no to something that appears secure but is no longer productive. What makes obedience difficult is that it rarely makes sense immediately. It can feel risky, uncomfortable, or even illogical. People prefer strategies they can control, but obedience requires trust beyond logic. Yet time and again, breakthroughs follow surrendered decisions rather than increased effort. Financial progress is often connected to specific instructions. These instructions may involve integrity, generosity, timing, or repositioning. Ignoring them delays access to provision. This is why two people with equal effort can experience vastly different outcomes. One follows instruction, the other relies solely on strength. Delayed obedience is another hidden barrier. People hear direction but postpone action, hoping circumstances will change first. But obedience loses power when it is delayed. What was meant to unlock growth in one season may lose effectiveness if ignored too long. Timing matters. Obedience also exposes areas of compromise. Sometimes financial limitation is not about income, but about integrity. Hidden shortcuts, dishonesty, or fear-based decisions block trust and flow. Obedience restores alignment by correcting what effort cannot fix. Another challenge is selective obedience. People follow instructions that feel comfortable while ignoring those that stretch them. But partial obedience often produces partial results. Breakthrough comes when surrender is complete, not convenient. When obedience is embraced, resistance begins to break. Opportunities appear that were previously invisible. Support arises unexpectedly. Progress accelerates not because work increases, but because alignment is restored. Obedience clears pathways that effort alone cannot create. Environment has more influence on financial progress than many realize. People often blame lack of opportunity, income, or resources, while overlooking the impact of the spaces and relationships they remain in daily. Growth is not only about what one does, but also about where one does it. A limiting environment normalizes struggle. When lack, fear, and dependency become common, ambition quietly fades. People stop expecting improvement because struggle feels normal. Over time, this mindset becomes internalized, creating invisible ceilings on progress. Financial growth requires exposure to possibility. When surrounded by small thinking, risk avoidance, or constant negativity, vision shrinks. Even disciplined individuals begin to question their potential. Environment shapes belief, and belief shapes behavior. Some environments discourage growth subtly. They may appear supportive, but resist change. Progress threatens comfort. When someone begins to think differently or pursue improvement, they may be met with doubt, criticism, or emotional pressure to stay the same. This resistance can be stronger than external opposition. Another environmental barrier is dependency culture. When people rely on others to rescue them repeatedly, responsibility weakens. Growth requires ownership. Environments that enable excuses delay maturity and financial independence. Fear-based environments also block progress. When failure is punished instead of treated as a learning experience, people stop taking necessary risks. Financial advancement often requires stepping beyond safety. Without psychological safety, people choose stagnation over growth. Sometimes the environment is not people, but systems, jobs, routines, or lifestyles that consume all energy without offering growth can trap individuals in survival mode. When there is no room to learn, adapt, or advance, effort becomes maintenance rather than progress. Leaving a limiting environment does not mean rejecting people. It means protecting purpose. Growth often requires distance, new exposure, and fresh perspectives. This can feel lonely at first, but isolation is sometimes the bridge to transformation. Healthy environments challenge and stretch. They encourage learning, accountability, and responsibility. They normalize progress rather than struggle. In such spaces, financial growth becomes possible because mindset shifts. Changing environment may not immediately increase income, but it increases capacity. Capacity leads to competence. Competence attracts opportunity. Over time, the shift becomes visible in stability, confidence, and consistent improvement. Many financial struggles do not begin in the wallet, but in the mind. Long before money is mishandled or opportunity is missed, a belief system has already formed. These beliefs are often shaped by past experiences of lack, failure, rejection, or disappointment. When these experiences remain unhealed, they quietly sabotage prosperity. A wounded mindset interprets opportunity through fear rather than possibility. Even when doors open, hesitation replaces confidence. People second-guess themselves, delay action, or retreat at the first sign of risk. This is not because opportunity is absent, but because the mind has been trained to expect loss instead of gain. Scarcity thinking is one of the most common barriers. It convinces people that resources are limited, success is reserved for others, and financial stability is fragile. This mindset leads to hoarding, anxiety, and poor decision-making. Instead of building wisely, people either cling too tightly or spend impulsively to escape emotional discomfort. Another damaging belief is the association of money with guilt or unworthiness. Some feel uncomfortable with the idea of financial increase, believing it will change them, isolate them, or contradict their values. Without realizing it, they resist growth to protect their identity. Prosperity becomes something they pray for but unconsciously avoid. Unhealed failure also plays a role. Past financial mistakes can create fear of trying again. Rather than learning from experience, people allow regret to define them. This leads to self-sabotage, avoiding responsibility, ignoring opportunities, or settling for less than their capacity. These internal barriers are powerful because they operate silently. People may appear disciplined and faithful on the surface, while internally battling doubt and insecurity. Until the inner narrative changes, external progress remains limited. Healing begins with awareness. Recognizing limiting beliefs is the first step toward transformation. When old narratives are confronted, they lose authority. Renewal of the mind creates space for new patterns, healthier decisions, and restored confidence. Prosperity flows where the mind is prepared to handle it. A healed mindset welcomes growth, manages risk wisely, and responds to challenges with resilience. Financial freedom is sustained not by income alone, but by emotional and mental stability. Delay is one of the most misunderstood aspects of financial struggle. Many interpret delay as denial or punishment, assuming they have failed in some way. In reality, delay often serves a purpose. It reveals readiness. It exposes character. It tests stewardship. Stewardship is the ability to manage what is already in hand. Increase is rarely given to those who have not demonstrated responsibility with what they currently possess. Small resources reveal large habits. How one handles little predicts how one will handle much. Delayed provision often exposes areas of weakness. Poor planning, lack of discipline, emotional spending, or avoidance of responsibility become evident under pressure. These weaknesses are not exposed to shame, but to prepare for growth. Some desire increase without understanding the weight it carries. More income requires more wisdom, more discipline, and more accountability. Without preparation, increase becomes overwhelming rather than empowering. Delay also protects. Receiving too much too soon can damage relationships, distort priorities, or create dependency. Time allows maturity to develop. It strengthens patience, discipline, and gratitude, qualities essential for sustainable wealth. Stewardship is not only about money. It includes time, energy, skills, and opportunities. Those who manage their time poorly often struggle financially, regardless of income. Consistency in small responsibilities builds trust for greater ones. Another aspect of stewardship is generosity, not the amount given, but the heart behind it. Willingness to share, help, and support others reflects freedom from fear. Generosity breaks the grip of scarcity and prepares the heart for abundance. Delayed provision also teaches contentment. Contentment does not mean complacency, it means stability. When people learn to be faithful without excess, they are less likely to be controlled by money when it arrives. Those who pass the test of delay emerge wiser, calmer, and more disciplined. When provision finally comes, it stays. It multiplies. It brings peace rather than anxiety. Financial breakthrough is not only about receiving more, but about becoming more. Delay refines character so that increase becomes a blessing rather than a burden. Financial struggle often continues not because effort is missing, but because energy is invested in work that does not match personal design. Every person carries a unique combination of skills, passions, insight, and perspective. When work aligns with this design, provision flows more naturally. When it does not, effort feels heavy and results remain limited. Many choose work based on survival rather than purpose. While survival seasons are real and sometimes necessary, Remaining in them too long restricts growth. Provision tied to calling is not always immediate, but it is sustainable. It produces fulfillment alongside income. When people operate outside their calling, they rely entirely on effort. Progress depends on hours worked rather than value created. In contrast, work aligned with calling creates impact. Impact attracts opportunity, influence, and compensation. Value, not exhaustion, becomes the driver of increase. Calling also shapes the type of provision one receives. Not all income streams are the same. Some require constant labor, while others multiply through systems, creativity, or service. When calling is clear, financial streams become diverse and resilient. Ignoring calling often leads to frustration and comparison. People wonder why others advance faster with less effort. The answer is not favoritism, but alignment. Those working within their design are moving with natural strength rather than forced effort. Discovering calling requires honesty. It involves recognizing strengths, acknowledging limitations, and being willing to grow. Calling may evolve over time, but it always aligns with inner conviction and natural capacity. Fear often delays alignment. Fear of instability, failure, or judgment keeps people trapped in unfulfilling work. Yet fulfillment and provision increase when courage replaces fear. Transition may be gradual, but direction must be intentional. Provision flows best where purpose is honored. When work serves meaning, money follows value. Financial growth becomes a byproduct of contribution rather than a desperate pursuit. In a world driven by speed and instant results, patience is undervalued. Many desire quick financial breakthroughs, sudden promotions, or immediate success. While rapid increase is possible, it is rarely sustainable. What comes quickly often leaves just as fast. Patience is not passivity. It is disciplined persistence over time. It allows growth to develop roots. Sustainable wealth is built through consistent habits, wise decisions, and long-term thinking. Impatience leads to shortcuts. Shortcuts compromise integrity, increase risk, and create instability. Many financial losses occur not because people lacked ability, but because they rushed outcomes before they were ready. Patience teaches delayed gratification. The ability to wait strengthens discipline and judgment. Those who master patience make better decisions under pressure. They avoid emotional spending and impulsive investments. Time is a powerful teacher. Over time, skills sharpen, wisdom increases, and perspective deepens. What seems slow is often preparation. Growth that lasts requires seasons of learning, adjustment, and refinement. Patience also protects peace. When people are constantly chasing quick success, anxiety increases. Comparison intensifies. Contentment disappears. Patient growth fosters stability, gratitude, and emotional health. Wealth built slowly tends to be managed wisely. It is appreciated rather than wasted. Those who endure the process respect the outcome. They understand the value of discipline because they lived it. Patience does not mean settling. It means trusting the process while remaining diligent. It balances ambition with wisdom. Those who practice patience stay consistent even when progress feels invisible. In time, patient effort compounds. Small improvements accumulate. What once seemed insignificant becomes substantial. Sustainable wealth is rarely dramatic, but it is dependable.